Right, so it's time for our Bible story reading for today, and we're looking at the story of the Last Supper, and it can be found in Luke 22 verses 1 to 23. So, Jerusalem was crowded. Families were arriving from far and wide, getting ready to celebrate the Jewish festival of Passover. There was laughter and hugging and lots of busyness as families reunited and got ready to celebrate. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, there was no laughter or hugging. There was just whispering behind hands and murmuring. The religious leaders were trying to come up with a plan to kill Jesus. But they were afraid of the crowds, so they were hoping to grab Jesus when no one was watching. They were delighted when Judas, one of Jesus' own special friends, came to them and offered to betray Jesus. Judas said he would find the opportunity when Jesus was away from the crowds and then hand him over to them. The religious leaders were smiling now, but their smiles were evil smiles. They agreed to pay Judas some money in return for his betrayal of Jesus. The other disciples knew nothing of these wicked plans. They were looking forward to sharing the Passover meal with their dear friend Jesus. Jesus asked Peter and John to go and get everything ready for the celebration. "Where would you like us to prepare the meal?" they asked. And Jesus gave them a very unusual instruction. "Go into the city, and there you will see a man carrying a water jug. Follow him closely. When he enters a house, say to the owner of that house, 'The teacher told us to come and ask you. Please show us the spare room you have, the one where we can celebrate Passover together.' He will take you to a large upstairs room, and you are to make the preparations there." Well, these instructions seemed a little bit strange, but then Peter and John had been friends with Jesus for long enough to understand that things were often a little, different when Jesus was around. So they went into the city and found everything just as Jesus had said. And when the evening came, all the disciples, even Judas, gathered with Jesus around the table. Jesus seemed sad and tired, but he looked around at them kindly and said, "You will never know just how much I've been looking forward to sharing this Passover meal with you. Afterwards, I must suffer many things. My friends, I'm telling you the truth. This is the last time we will eat this meal together, until after I have suffered and we are together in God's kingdom." And then Jesus picked up the cup of red wine and said to them, "Share this with each other. I will not drink wine again until God's kingdom comes." And then he picked up the bread and he thanked God for it. He broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying, "Take this and eat it. This is my body, which is broken for you. Every time you eat it, remember me." And when the Passover meal was finished, Jesus lifted the cup of wine for a second time. And this time he said, "This represents my blood, which will soon be shed for you all. In this way I am making a new covenant with you, sealed with my blood." Jesus was quiet for a moment and then added, "The hand of the person who will betray me is on this table with me. As it is written, I must soon die and become a sacrifice for all. But this is a terrible day of judgment for the man who betrays me." The disciples were confused and upset. This was a very strange Passover. Jesus had said some very unexpected things. What did it all mean? And who was going to betray him? And now it was the disciples' turn to whisper. They began to ask questions among themselves, trying to work out which one of them was the betrayer.